I was texting with the governor this morning about some things and get some updates, and closed by saying to me, Paul, it's a good day to have a good day. And I appreciated that, appreciated her optimism. I think that's important right now, is balancing realism with optimism. And so it is a good day to have a good day. And so let's try and do that today. I want to get into yesterday's council actions that we took. As you know, our Board of Health supported an ordinance. I don't know if that can that be turned down, whatever that is, requiring businesses to limit the number of patrons in their facilities, certain businesses to no more than 10 at one time. The ordinance was presented to our council, where it received full unanimous support of our council in an 8-0 vote. Violation of this ordinance will be a Class 2 misdemeanor, and the ordinance will be in effect until the 8th of April, and depending on the level of illness in our community, it can be extended, it can be amended, and it can also be terminated by ordinance. It could also be done sooner if we want to call a special meeting at any time. If you have questions about how this might affect you or your business, go to siouxfalls.org/COVID-19. Scroll to the bottom and you can get some questions answered there on that. I want to give you a real example. This morning, I went to my chiropractor. The stress of this job right now is giving me a bad back. And I've been seeing a chiropractor. I went in, there's 3 people in there. The chiropractor worked on me. They gave me hand sanitizer before, they gave me hand sanitizer after, they wiped down the bed afterwards. They do not fall under this ordinance. Can you still go see a chiropractor? Certainly. If you don't feel comfortable going to see your chiropractor, don't go. Okay? The business has a responsibility. The patron has a responsibility. Okay? If they had 15 people in there, would they be all right? Yes, they would be, because they do not fall under this ordinance. And if they are practicing smart social distancing and have all their patrons spread throughout their facility, they would be okay. Okay? So there's a lot of questions on this ordinance. If I went into a bar and they had 15 people in there, they would not be okay, because they fall within the ordinance. They're one of the listed categories. Jill is going to get into the details of that in a minute. Beginning today, SAM, Sioux Area Metro, is limiting the number of passengers on a fixed route at any given time to 9, and then our driver makes 10. So we're going to be practicing what we preach on Sioux Area Metro with that beginning today. We don't have the ability or the authority to determine what an essential ride is, and asking people, well, where are you going? And to them, it's essential. To us, it may not seem essential, and so we're not going to make those limitations. We're just doing our part to limit the ridership to keep people safe on the bus. One thing I also want to call out, when we talk about digital equity, access to the internet, which is extremely important right now, especially for kids and for youth, most of whom are trying to learn from home, Midco actually has, if you qualify for education assistance credit, which I know a lot of families do, they got a free internet package right now that will give you free internet until middle of June. So if internet's a challenge in your home right now, you need to contact Midco, and they have some options available for you. So finally, before I turn over to Jill, I want to give a call to action. Kids are stuck at home. My kids are stuck at home. 3 kids. They're working. They're looking for a way to help the community. We're creating a kids art contest starting today. Here's what, and I'm going to post on Facebook on this more details. I want to see artwork from kids. I want to see it posted prominently in their windows in their front yard for their neighbors to enjoy. All right? So I need you to create some artwork. I need you to post it in your windows, and then I need you to take a picture and tag it. SF Stay at Home Art. Hashtag SF Stay at Home Art. Let's do that. I want to see the hashtags. I want the elementary schools to get involved. I want to see these blanketing the city. I'm going to pick a couple of the best ones. I'm going to hand deliver a couple prize packages to those kiddos who do the best job of that in our city. So a way to lift up the city, do some stuff fun. A lot of people are out walking, trying to get fresh air. That'd be a great way to spread some cheer around our neighborhood. So we will do that. Look for more details on that online. And I'm going to turn it over to Jill now with some specific updates about that ordinance and about COVID health in our community overall. So, Jill?
Thanks, Mayor Tenhaken. So yesterday's ordinance has ensured social distancing at enclosed retail businesses that promote public gatherings. These retail businesses must modify business practices in order to ensure that not more than 10 patrons are on the premises for on-site use of the services and/or consumption of the goods at any given time. Our Environmental Health Division is actively working to make sure they are educating all those affected businesses or those who must comply with this ordinance, and that is occurring. I'm sure they're well on their way to getting through most of those businesses this morning. They're encouraged, these businesses are encouraged to utilize business models that do not involve public, well, I should say businesses in general are encouraged to utilize business models that do not involve public gatherings, and these businesses specifically should include, they should be looking at models like takeout, delivery, drive-through, curbside service, etc. You know, I think we, even in some of my language, sometimes we're talking about things that really should be applying to all businesses. But this is a specific set of criteria that we have enacted that are specifically for these enclosed retail businesses where social gatherings are more prominent. And so that's where this ordinance specifically was designed for, but there is definitely things that all employers must be doing right now. They must be doing it. Are we going to hold them responsible through an ordinance? No, we don't have the ability to do that. But I am telling you, they must be doing these things. They must be implementing procedures to ensure social distancing between persons in their workplace as much as feasible. So, for example, these businesses that are operating now with 10 or fewer patrons, and have to comply with that, they should be thinking about their staff, and they should be ensuring that their staff have the ability to be socially distancing themselves as well. They need to be thinking creatively. If they have a kitchen where they're cooking food and preparing the services for takeout and delivery and curbside service, they need to be thinking about how are they going to social distance people from each other. That's still something that they should do even while they are allowed to operate. And all businesses should be looking at that. We've got a host of large employers in this city, and they should all be looking at ways that they're keeping their staff apart from each other so they can be reducing the potential to transmit this coronavirus. They should be, all employers should be working hard to allow people to telework. We've been taking great strides as the city of Sioux Falls to be innovative in ways that we never thought we could be around allowing people to work from home, and we're really making some, strides in, really highly encouraging that for those employees in the city that can do so and effectively do so. And we would encourage all employers and urge all employers to take some of that same action. You should be all of us should be really avoiding work gatherings right now. That should not be occurring in your workplace. And also eliminating and really encouraging eliminating non-essential work travel right now. And also, considering that, making sure that you're following and staying abreast of the CDC guidelines. There's a lot of guidance in the CDC's site. We get a lot of questions from people about, well, what should I do about this kind of business I have, or what should I be doing about this business? What I can tell you is go to that CDC website and immerse yourself in understanding all the various elements of what their guidance is providing us. Most importantly, though, it's that simple action that we all need to take in our community is to get farther apart from each other right now. It's just a fact, and we've had several people in, at the city council meeting yesterday bring up that fact that viruses are not going to be able to be spread if we stay apart from each other. And that's the thing we have to be doing. This weekend, right now, is such a critical weekend. We have the opportunity in Sioux Falls, in our community, as a whole, to say we're going to fight this. We're not going to allow this virus to take over our community. And this weekend is going to be an important one. It's going to be nice out. You should be getting outside. You should be going to the park. You should be taking walks. You should be doing those things. But don't be gathering in groups. Be separated from each other. If you're riding a bike, try and ride a bike distance from each other. If you're going for a walk, walk separately, but still hold that great conversation you need to be having with each other. Avoid groups of more than 10 people when you're sitting maybe at the park. Avoid park benches, playground equipment, etc. And make sure if you are touching surfaces that you're hand sanitizing and taking care of yourself if you happen to. The other thing is to be remembering that the facilities at the parks will not be open, the bathrooms will not be open, drinking fountains will not be accessible, and so those are things you have to remember if you are utilizing our parks this weekend. Again, I couldn't stress more how important these next few days are for us to do our part as a community. This community has responded in a great, great way, and you need to keep it up, so thank you very much.
All right, that's it for today. Any questions for Jill or myself?
Well, I would just ask, we talk a lot about businesses, really busy time in churches. What advice would you have for congregations for churches?
Well, for churches, being frank, I would ask that churches don't meet right now. All right, and that churches find a way to still minister to their congregations using remote methods. All right. For myself and my family, who are regular Sunday church attendees, we're worshiping from our couch. We're streaming different church services each Sunday. And so most churches are choosing not to worship right now. I think that's a smart move. I think that's a smart practice. We will get back to normal. Right now it's critical, though. I think the Lord understands as well. So that would be my recommendation to churches, is that they take a break right now while we're in this really critical time.
It's required between people to stay at home, to close down businesses. But what's your understanding that you from the state in order to do that?
Well, we've said all along that this is pretty much the furthest extent that we can take under the law available to us while minimizing any exposure or legal liability. So we have. What I've told people, and I had an interview today with someone, I said, we've taken things 99% of the way. And this solves 99% of the problems I feel in the city. That final 1%, I think, would probably be handled by mandated closures. But that 1%, you got to weigh, is the juice worth the squeeze? And that you open up a lot of legal exposure by mandating business closures. And so if there was potentially a public health emergency that the state would issue that could potentially give us more authority, then that public health authority would be delegated down to the local level, as the governor has asked to see, that would give us some additional authority to take deeper steps if we needed to.
So since your ordinance has gone into effect, have you seen more calls coming into the office with complaints as far as like needing bars open or anything like that?
No complaints yet, just a lot of questions. People are wondering, how should I operate? We just need to keep referring back to the ordinance. So that's why we have the questions on siouxfalls.org/COVID-19. Submit a question if you're not sure how your business should run. Please do that. So we'll see tonight. We'll see this weekend how things go. But I'm very confident that there'll be a lot of self-compliance that businesses will enact.
I'm just curious that, a few days ago it might have been a different situation. You drive around Sioux Falls. What do you think about compliance now? Getting better?
And I'm going to try to read the question back. I'm sorry, I've been forgetting to do this. He said, is it getting better even before the ordinance was enacted? Absolutely. I would say the business community and the patrons of this community have been adhering to the recommendations that they've been hearing from this podium a lot. And that's so appreciated. I mean, there is just some incredible business leaders and business owners in this community that have enacted that. This takes it another step to say, okay, there's a segment that didn't want to do that, so now we had to take this next step. So this is another step in that process. All right, seeing no other questions, I'll thank you guys for coming and have a blessed and lonely weekend. Thank you.
Well, you have been watching today's city briefing. The mayor and also the public health director again reiterated the new ordinance in Sioux Falls that is now in effect for a number of businesses, from health clubs to restaurants to entertainment venues, no more than 10 people at a time. That ordinance is now in effect. The mayor also talked about the buses, no more than 9 passengers on the buses, and that Midco is offering free internet to families who qualify. The mayor also announced a new kids art contest. He's asking families to have their children do art on windows or art in their front yard, and then take a picture of it and put hashtag Sioux Falls, or SF, that is, stay at home art. The Director of Public Health, Jill Franken, reiterated the plea to businesses to enact social distancing with their staffs, to keep their people who work within the business apart, those businesses that remain open at this time. And they all mentioned that this weekend is an important weekend for everyone to stay home and to do what they're asking of them. All public park facilities are closed, so you can't use restrooms or drinking fountains or those kinds of things at public parks, although you can still go to public parks, but they urged caution with using the equipment there. Well, we will continue to monitor the COVID-19 developments, and we'll bring you the latest on Midday in Kettleland. We also will bring you a special report with Governor Kristi Noem live at 1:30 today. In the meantime, be sure to keep up to date on all of the latest updates on Kettleland.com, on our Kettleland News app as well. We now